Godzilla could never exist because the math won't allow it. Depending on the movie, Godzilla is somewhere around 350 feet tall.
Or 50 gritties.
Which is 3.5 times bigger than the largest animal to have ever existed. And this size can pretty much only happen because it's suspended in water. But a 90,000 ton land animal would certainly collapse under its own weight. It's called the surface area to volume ratio, and it ensures the exchange in a cell between resources and waste is leveled. As a third-dimensional being like you or Godzilla gets bigger, the ratio between its surface area, so it's outside, and its volume narrows, meaning the goo is expanding faster than the outside surface area. So biology has its mathematical limits. Not to mention the other problems like his 1 second delay. The fastest nerves can send signals to the brain at around 220 miles per hour, so it would take a full second for messages to reach his arms and legs. And he'd have blood vessels so big you could drive a car through it, and yet not powerful enough to pump blood into his heart. Godzilla might be able to exist on a planet with lower gravity, so something small, but then he still needs to consume more food than this little planet could probably provide.
2 out of 10, not possible.
Godzilla could never exist.
Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving our praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, I just want to go into this clip, that I came across, what this woman pretty much said, what the world knows as Godzilla, but, in the scriptures it's called Leviathan, doesn't exist. So, I'm just going to go into it, bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. Now, she made a claim that, I'm just going to, use the world's term Godzilla couldn't exist because he is far too large, when indeed that's incorrect. Of course he exists, because you can look at any, large land, the largest land animals, elephants, they're big, they weigh tons, they don't collapse under their weight. Giraffes are tall animals, they don't collapse under their own weight, and I was just thinking about this as well, and it's a perfect example. You have, for those that are familiar with that show, My 600-Pound Life, you have people that weigh 600 plus pounds but still manage to get their big ass up, and go eat some food, and they don't collapse under their own weight. And even though, they can, and some do, they can't walk in the wrong because they weigh so much, but that's not the case, regarding Leviathan, man. So I'm going to start in the book of Job, chapter 41. And as you can see, the headline reads, Yahweh's power shown in creatures, man. Because, the Lord can show his power through his creations, man. He can. So this is Job 41:1. And he says, canst thou draw out Leviathan with an hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? And man, pretty much the Lord is asking, Esau, Edom, can he draw Leviathan out? Can he pretty much, catch him like, you would a fish, you would throw, your lure into the water, and it had a hook with the bait at the end of it, That's what the Lord is asking. Can you draw Leviathan, which, he can't. Verse 2, canst thou put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? And this is what Esau, it's this is what the Lord is asking Esau, man. Because, a prime example, one thing he does, he catches animals, from the wild, and he puts them in zoos, He can't do that with Leviathan, because, again, he's too large. Esau can't, catch him and put him in the zoo. It's impossible. Verse 5, wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall thy companions make a banquet of him? Like, yeah, again, it's like you would have, fishermen that would catch fish, fillet the fish, and sell them. This is what the Lord is asking. Can he catch Leviathan? Can he bind him? Can he pierce his scales, so to speak? He can't do it. It's like it says, shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Yeah, again, to cut him up and sell him. Verse 7, canst thou feel his skin with barred irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down, even at the sight of him? So yeah, man, even seeing Leviathan, man, people will give up the ghost. Because again, he's a very fierce creature, man. And again, it says it in verse 10. It says, no, it's like none is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? Come on, man. If, just this is telling you, man, how cold the Lord is, man. He's telling you, like, no, you can't stand before this creature, man. Even the sight of him will have you give up the ghost. I'm going to bring that out in second. No, it's lucky, not second address, but Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11. And I'm going to start at 17, and it says, for thy almighty hand that made the world of matter without form, wanted not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, or unknown wild beasts full of rage, newly created. Now we know, Leviathan isn't a newly created creature. He's been around. But again, the point I want to make out of bringing this is that, just the sight of him is terrible, because again, even reading this, just Slakia, I'm just going to read it. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 11:18, or unknown wild beasts full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor or a filthy sense of scattered smoke, or shooting horrible sparks out of their eyes, whereof not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroy them, man. Yeah. Again, if these are talking about even newly created creatures as well, man, but, says even the sight of Leviathan will have someone give up the ghost. And what is Leviathan described as, described in many ways as being, a serpent, a dragon, a whale, which, I have queued up right here on Google, Leviathan, which, it says in Jewish, which we know is not Jewish, mythology, and this is not mythology, man. This creature is indeed real. It says the name Leviathan can refer to a variety of monstrous creatures, including a primordial sea serpent, a dragon, a snake, a crocodile, or a whale-like animal. It likely developed from pre-biblical Middle Eastern mythology, which again, this isn't mythology, man, because people tend to forget. The Lord flooded this entire earth, man, and the only animals that really remained, besides, the animals that were on the ark, were sea creatures, man. So I'm pretty sure Leviathan was around then, around the time of the flood, to clean up those bodies as well. But again, is the main points that I want to point out in bringing this is he's described as being a sea serpent, a dragon, or a whale-like animal, man. Come on. And then she says, oh, well, There's no way he could exist. He's too big. Come on, man. That's nonsense. So I'm going to go back to Job 41. Then I'm going to jump to verse 14. It says, who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together. They cannot be sundered. By his neesings a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke. Out of his, it's like as out of a seething pot or a cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame of fire, it's like a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved, man. So, man, this animal is pretty much immortal. Like, really, only the Most High can take him out, Because if you think about it, it just says, you can't pierce his skin, man. You can't. There's nothing Esau Edom can do to try to take out Leviathan, man. You can't do it. Verse 24, it says, his heart is as firm as a stone. Yea, it's like as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. When he riseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves, man. And yeah, you have, certain stories where, let me see, if not fishermen, people will go, or the best example I can give is like old ancient maps, where they would have like dragons or like sea serpents on certain areas of the map in the water because they knew that's where, Leviathan dwell, and again, there is more than one, So they would encounter Leviathan, man. And certain of them that encountered them, may have lived, but others that encountered them, they died, they gave up the ghost. Then another great example is, excuse me, it was the Edomite man. I think it was sometime earlier last year, you had, it was a video of ice breaking up in, I think, Antarctica, and the guy pointed it out, like you see, it's something large, pretty much breaking up that ice, man. Again, Leviathan, This is a real creature. She said it because it's like if she said Godzilla, I'm just going to say Godzilla couldn't possibly exist. But again, it says it in the scriptures that this creature exists, man. So I'm going to go to Psalms 104. I'm going to start at 24, and it says, O Lord, how manifold are thy works. In wisdom hast thou made them all. The earth is full of thy riches. Verse 25, and it's the point. So is the great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable, both small and great beasts. And yeah, man, they say only 5%, if that, of the ocean has been, discovered. We don't know what's down there. But again, just like it says right here, there's a lot of strange animals that are, in the deep depths of the sea, both small and great. Verse 26, and it says, there go the ships. There is that Leviathan whom thou hast made to play therein. See, yeah, man, these ships, Sometimes Leviathan plays with the ships, man. He may let these people live. Come on, man. Verse 27, these wait all upon thee, that thou mayest give them their meat in due season. So yeah, man, you know, just like certain ships that may come up missing, you know, in the sea in certain regions with, you know, no signs of anything left, you know, again, that could be Leviathan that took them out, man. So people, you know, she says, oh, well, it's not possible. Well, of course, it's extremely possible, man. So I'm just gonna see. Let me see if I can do this. Go to images, says ancient maps. Just to see if they have one, you know. Alright, hold on, let me do this. Alright, we'll do this. Nah, this may be nonsense. Because I don't want to bring out, you know, no. Because there was one map, you know, where they show like what looked like a sea serpent. Alright, I can't find it. But it's all good. You know, and this is one thing I wanted to bring out too, you know, which I was kind of thinking about, which I found interesting. So, you know, pretty much the guy that made, you know, the Godzilla movies, you know, he's an Ammonite man. You know, Tomoyuki Tanaka, you know, was born in 1910 and he died in 1997. You know, so he's the originator. He's the one who created, you know, Godzilla, as you can see. And these are all the movies that he produced, you know. Then this is one thing I wanted to bring out. Let me see, where is it? And this is what I seen. It says, why did Tomoyuki Tanaka create Godzilla? It says, Tanaka created Godzilla in 1954 in an effort to illustrate the terror the Japanese felt after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In an interview in 1991, Tanaka summed up the symbolism of Godzilla. Japanese people back then had a great fear of radiation, which is what gave Godzilla his enormous size. So yeah, as we know, for those, you know, the Godzilla fans, you know, that's pretty much how, you know, he got large, you know, from those bombs dropping. And then, you know, they even reference it, you know, in different movies, you know, where he gets bigger because of the nuclear radiation. But overall, you know, he says, you know, those bombings inspire him to make it. But ultimately, we know, you know, the heathens get certain things from the scriptures as well, man. Like, you know, the people that create, you know, the series Dragon Ball Z, you know, they know that's talking about us, you know, the Israelites. So I'm not surprised, you know, if this Ammonite man, before he died, if, you know, he knew that Leviathan was actually real and wanted to, bring it to the big screen, because again, they said, that is Jewish mythology, but, it's not mythology, man. It's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing, man. So I'm going to end it on this. Second Esdras, Slakia. Second Esdras, chapter 6, and verse 49. And it says, then didst thou ordain 2 living creatures, the one thou calledest Enoch, and the other Leviathan. So yeah, man, this isn't just talking about Enoch himself, but, man in general. And the other, Leviathan, not just Leviathan himself, but, the beast of the earth, man. Because, you have man and beast, dwelling on the earth. Verse 50, and didst separate them, it's like, and did separate the one from the other for the 7th part, namely, where the water was gathered together, might not hold them both together. So yeah, man, the Lord separated man from beast. Leviathan, as we know, dwells, in the water, because again, he's described as being a sea serpent, a dragon or a whale-like creature. So he dwells in the sea, and obviously man dwells on land. Unto Enoch thou gavest 1 part, which was dried up the 3rd day, that he should dwell in the same part, wherein all are 8,000 hills. So yeah, before the earth was flooded, there were just hills. The mountains were created after the flood, because it broke up, the landmass, because all of the continents, were all put together. It's like a puzzle piece, what was known as, Pangea, just that one large landmass. This is why the continents of the earth are all separated and, in their particular area. Verse 52, but unto Leviathan thou gavest the 7th part, namely the moist, and hast kept him to be devoured of him who thou wilt and when. And yeah, man, so the Lord can, stir Leviathan up, can bring him out at any time. And it wouldn't be surprising, in these last days, if people will see him. I believe that, certain parts of the world, somewhere, someone is going to see him, and he's pretty much going to help aid in taking, this system down, to destroy this wicked system and to, pretty much, vex the heathens. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till next time I say you, Shalom.